there's many times when I've stated that there are people trying to sabotage our blockchain, prevent us from growing, and keep us running on the spot at all times. It's very important for us as a community to understand that the best kind of evidence to support stuff like this is the evidence that I'm about to show you. I just did a live, and the intention of my live was to join the TFL Twitter space, get a speaker's position, and ask a very simple question, very politely, and it simply was going to be, will you consider handing over all of the legacy infrastructure, including station, mobile station, docks, and extension, to the L1 team? The legacy systems, nothing else. That was all I was going to ask, right? I was removed from this space, and people say, well, maybe the space crashed, Jay. Maybe it's not what you think. But if we go to their Twitter, we can see that these spaces are not available for me, but they are available for everybody else. I can join on the LUNCpenguins Twitter. Now, the reason why they've removed me is because they're obviously worried what I was going to ask, but there's not really much I could ask. You know, I'm not one of those people who have tried to sabotage their chain. I'm not one of these people that got real hooked up on the DK news. I'm not one of those people. I'm actually really mature and really polite, and I'm actually building on this blockchain. Unlike a lot of other, validators, I actually have projects on this chain that are providing huge liquidity loops. They've got a lot locked up into them, and they provide a lot of holders, a lot of sustenance. On top of that, I've developed modules, websites, all sorts of different things. I don't need to toot my own trumpet here. I'm just simply saying I'm not a bad guy. Now, going back to this, I'm going to simply play the clip, and I'm going to let you see the evidence for what it is. You've been removed from this space. So literally, this is like the most ultimate level of sabotage in my eyes, because they want to keep us on the spot. They don't want to help us. But the sad part is, every time the L1 team need an update, they have to send, we have to ask the L1. The L1 then has to ask TFL, which they don't really have a direct line to them anyway. They then have to say, yes, put a pull request in. We put the pull request in. They then merge it. It then updates, and the update's live. That normally takes around a month, give or take. The quickest we've seen that happen was recently, right? The biggest issue is TFL are happy to deal with Terra rebels, aka Hexagon, which is even more sickening, that they will help a group like that, but they won't actually help the actual people building on this blockchain. And what I believe is, they just don't want this chain to prosper. They know by helping Hexagon, the likelihood is this chain will crumble and they'll start their own path, their own chain, their own road, like they already are. Now, there's so many big issues with this. I need to stop using that for context. There's so many problems with what just happened, because, those questions, that infrastructure is LUNC infrastructure, and we're living under the boot of TFL. The reason why I went down this route is because the L1 are spending more time telling me what they cannot do instead of doing what has been passed via governance. They're bending it to suit their will. Now, what my theory is, this is just a theory and it's my own humble opinion here. Don't get mad at me. I believe Vin thought he could bend the proposal to his will. Introduce Hexagon, people would suddenly forget about everything that they did as Terra rebels and accept them. Those 3 people would then replace the 3 people missing on the L1 team. The community wasn't happy about that. People like myself weren't happy about that. He had to backtrack on that. So now he doesn't have the 3 people to replace those positions. He doesn't have the people there to deploy what needs to be deployed. Thus, they're saying they don't have the knowledge to do this. What are we paying these people for? It's this whole idea around saying, yeah, I'm a mechanic, but I'm not a specialist mechanic. And I get it, a specialist mechanic can do different stuff, but it's core concept stuff. Ultimately, you're a mechanic, right? You can go on YouTube and you can learn these things. Life is about learning, and our blockchain's about development, bettering ourselves and furthering ourselves as a blockchain. And if we got a team that are doing ultimately nothing at the moment, Steve left over a month ago nearly now. The next quarter's coming up, and what I believe is Vin is buying time and bottlenecking us So we don't get the first part of the proposal done, meaning we can't move to the second part of the proposal, as to which people are just going to get more and more fed up, and eventually just accept this ultimatum of what they're trying to force us to accept. Something strange is going on, right? Because you don't see, you don't not see what's going on. You don't not see what's being said and how unhappy people are. And it's like, every time we get the opportunity as a blockchain to do the right thing, it always comes down to one person who's like, oh, do you know what? Nah, sorry. And shoves a stick straight in the wheels of their bike and flips us all over and knocks everybody else down with them. Moving forward is everything for me right now. And every time we start to run on the spot, people start to bicker, people start to argue, people have got nothing to do. Everyone's starting to put their eggs all in the USTC basket, whereas if you go back to the Redline podcast, Redline actually says, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. This is a 50-50 shot. It might work, it might not work. All of a sudden, the attitudes change. It's like, everything needs to go into the repeg. Everything needs to go into the repeg. And it's like, whoa, let's slow down. We don't even have infrastructure that we own as a community. And we're trying to repeg an algorithmic stablecoin. We'll possibly be repegging it for everybody else to utilize apart from our sector. What's even worse is most of the validators are just currently getting their rewards. They're selling them and it's dumping the price more and more and more and more and more. We haven't moved upwards for some serious amount of time now. We start to run and then something, like I said, just happens. Someone shoves a stick in our bike and we trip ourselves over, smash our face open, and there we are at the hospital again, all bickering with each other as to who put the stick in the bike wheel. Now, I believe, and like I said, it's my own humble opinion, that Vin is buying time. This is all just now buying time. I'm not happy with it. I'm really upset about it, and it worries me for my projects and everything that I've built on this chain and all of the people that look to me for that project's future. And all of you that look to me, are going to say, how did you let this happen, HCC? When these ultimatums eventually come, if I hadn't done these videos, at least then I've done these videos. I've warned people. I've shown you that. I've just sat in 35 minutes of TFL junk to get a speaker position to simply be removed in front of everybody. What I don't think they were banking on is someone like me actually sat there live streaming who can actually capture exactly what they did, because they could just say, oh, it's technical issues. This isn't a technical issue. They have removed me from the space. Very sad to see. Folks, share this one around. Show people. Let people know what's going on. Let people know what is happening with the L1 team and the inability to push forward and actually launch simple. It's like having a toaster and not being able to know how to toast a piece of bread. It's really strange. It confuses me to a very, very serious level. Being a structural engineer, right? My job is to provide access to a very high standard. If I get something wrong, people die. Okay, people will just fall from like thousands upon thousands of feet. It's not something that you can mess around with, and it's just like, we need more serious people that. What we need, right, is visionaries. We need people who have got this vision of restoring the blockchain, whereas we don't. We just have people who have visions of when's my paycheck coming in? Oh, the only thing keeping me here is my paycheck. And, we need visionaries. We honestly need visionaries, because ultimately everybody's just like, oh, well, it's just a paycheck. Well, if it all crashes, we'll just lose our paycheck. And that's what it comes down to. And it's just like, there's no real risk for a lot of these people. They're just here to sort of do what work they can, tell us what they can't do, and, oh, well, it's not our fault. You hired us, you paid us, you passed a proposal. You didn't say nothing to us. You didn't raise any of your concerns, so we just went ahead with it. That's what it all boils down to. Like with these people, the way I'm starting to learn now with proposals is, if you're going to pick the salt up and put salt on your chips, you don't want to write your proposal saying, I'm going to pick the salt up and put the salt on my chips. You're going to literally say, I'm going to take the arm on my body, the right arm specifically, and I'm going to use 4 fingers and a thumb. Let's get it right, just in case they want to deviate a little bit. And I'm going to pick the glass pot of salt up that has white salt in it. I'm then going to lift that pot of white salt in a glass container above my plate of chips. I got my chips from the canteen. I'm going to pour the salt on. I'm now pouring the salt on. The salt is now going on my chips. My chips are now salted. You know, that's the level of what you need to describe to people when they're bending a proposal that already outlines very clearly what needs to happen. You know, if you disagree with me, let me know. If you don't, let me know in the comments section. Folks, stay safe. I'll stop trying to do weird analogies to do with salt. You know, if it's a cow, if it walks like a cow and it moves like a cow, is it a cow? In crypto, the likelihood is it's not actually a cow. Stay safe. None of this is financial advice. Beware of scammers, doppelgangers, anybody pretending to be me. This is all my own humble opinion. I'll catch you in the next one.